I want to move on to talk about transfers, gents, and something that caught my eye, Steve, and I don't know why, but this one really got me thinking, and it could be an absolute nonsense link, but I do believe Juventus are looking to get rid of this gent. Is Aaron Ramsey now? I don't know why this intrigues me. I don't know if I get the whiff of the maybe the Gary McAllister, the Jimmy Milner, the aging player that has a point to prove that maybe could come back and do it. There's something about Ramsey I've always liked, but then again, there is always that point about Ramsey that he can pick up injuries and can be a bit inconsistent. Am I mad here, or what are you thinking?
I think there's a few things here. First of all, I think he's a really good player. I think he's got a few more years left in him, and in theory he'd be a great signing. There are things, we've nearly signed him a couple of times, haven't we? We almost got him from Cardiff when he went to Arsenal. There was a whole big charm offensive. I think it was it Benitez at the time or Rod, whoever it was at the time at Liverpool. Yeah, there was a big charm offensive, and he's a Liverpool supporter. I think we nearly signed him then, and I know there was there were talks as well before he went to Juve, but the Juve offer was just astronomical, and I think it's because of that point that you'd have to really lean on the fact that he's a Liverpool fan, because we're talking about his wages at Juve are well north of 300 grand a week, and that we'd never pay him that, would we? Absolutely no chance. He'd have
How much do you think you could lean on that? And how much could we lean on the emotional factor, do you think there? Like, would that play a big part in a professional footballer? I often wonder that.
Yeah, I think it probably does. I mean, we hear it a lot, don't we, Liverpool? With Liverpool, I was a Liverpool fan as a kid, and everyone kind of rolls their eyes a little bit. But I think he genuinely was. Yeah, I mean, whether that allows you to half somebody's wages, I don't know. But then the flip side of that is he'll be looking at it thinking, well, if I want to come back to England, who's going to pay me this amount of money? Probably nobody. Maybe City if they really wanted him, but you can't see that. You can't see them kind of making him a marquee signing. So he'd have to take a pay cut wherever he went, unless he went to PSG, I guess. But so yeah, maybe I don't completely rule that out. I mean, he's been over the years since he was a 16-year-old at Cardiff. He's been linked with the club, as I was saying, on multiple occasions. So yeah, who knows? I mean, I think I'd quite like it. He's a good player.
We are kind of, Jack, talking about a Gini Wijnaldum replacement here when we're speaking about the possibility of a Ramsey or something, because no confirmation as of yet, but it's looking more and more likely that that offer's still on the table from the club, but he looks like he could be moving the pastures new. And if he does, he should go. I've reiterated this point many times, with a massive thank you, pat on the back, a job well done. And when you sign for a club, you want the player to see that contract through, and he will have honoured every minute of that, given 100% on the pitch. So I want to put that out there, because I've seen some negativity towards Gini on social media that I just don't buy, and I don't think is in any way deserved.
Yeah, firstly on Gini, there's been a debate this week about whether he goes out as a Liverpool legend or not. For me, it's undoubtedly yes. He's a Liverpool legend. He's won the league with us. He's won the Champions League with us. And it's not just that. You think of some of the biggest moments under Jurgen Klopp, us getting back into the Champions League. He scored that day against Middlesbrough. You're talking about on the road to Kiev in the semi-final away in Rome, who scored probably, the most vital goal that day, Gini Wijnaldum. Who scored twice against Barcelona in the 4-0 at Anfield, Gini Wijnaldum. For me, if he goes in the summer, which I honestly believe he will, he is undoubtedly a Liverpool legend. It's as simple as that. And I don't like these Ramsey links. Like Steve said, his wage puts me off hugely. The injury record puts me off also. The fact he's 30, I think it's all nonsense. I think it's all bollocks. I think it's all been driven by his agent because he's a Liverpool fan. Like Steve says, I know we've been interested in the past. I know that we've seen James Pearce himself say that Liverpool have had interest in Ramsey before. And I feel as though, he's only played twice, I think twice in terms of full 90 minutes anyway, for Juventus this season. And for me, I think he's probably wanting to get out of there, and it's his agent driving this story. He's also been linked with West Ham, and for me, that would be a better move for the Welshman. I would rather we looked at other replacements than Aaron Ramsey, in my opinion.
So, Steve, moving on to those potential other replacements that Jack has spoken about, we've seen a whole host of names being linked. We've seen Nicolo Barella, we've seen Houssem Aouar, we've seen Rodrigo de Paul, and lots of others. But anybody for you stand out that, I know you have some, good connections with regards to media and stuff. Any of your WhatsApp chats brought up anything interesting or anything that we should maybe keep an eye on? Because Aouar excites me, I won't lie to you. Oh, it's revenge time, Jack. Oh, you could see the look, the satisfaction on Jack's face.
Nightmare. Aouar's the one who probably excites me the most. None of them strike me being as being particularly like for like with Gini. I think he may be their like for how he was 5 years ago. He was much more of a sort of number 10 then, wasn't he? But he's a different player now, and I think his role in our system is different. And I've said this before. We've talked about Gini in a bit more depth. I'm just really disappointed. I agree that he goes having achieved a load, and we give him a pat on the back and we say thank you and all that kind of stuff. But I don't see any of these players being as good as he is now. And I guess we probably would have said that when we signed him from Newcastle. He was a bit of a gamble at the time. Nobody would have kind of predicted how good he was going to be. But I just, Barella, from what I've seen, looks like a really good player. I think there's certainly interest in a lot of these players, but I'm just really disappointed that the club have let it come to this. I don't really get why it's going on and on and on. There was some people sharing a story from, I think it was a Spanish publication the other week, saying, this is a couple of weeks ago, saying that he'd agreed to extend his Liverpool contract. So and then you see the Barcelona thing come back up again, and then you see the Inter Milan thing come back up again, and I mean, who knows? I saw him the other day, didn't I? I was on the phone to you guys, and I said he drove past and he pulled into Virgil's house. So, I wonder if Virgil had a word asking him to stay. But no, I don't know. Yeah, I'm a bit kind of a bit nonplussed really about all of them. I like the idea of getting a number 10, kind of like number 10 kind of player in, because that's kind of the area that we are short, as opposed to a like for like, and Aouar would be one of those.
Fakir's name even came up, Steve, over the last week, which I think if we walked away from that once, we're definitely not going back again.
I mean, he's done well in Spain, hasn't he, since he went? But you can't imagine going back to that one again. He's 3 years older, is it? Was it 2 or 3 years ago?
It would be easy. He wouldn't have to do a signing video and stuff again. That's all done,
isn't it? Probably the signatures on the contract still. Yeah. Probably it's all done.